drawn, or are you pleased with the point?
Yeah, I said it many times already to the other media that there were moments in the game where you thought, oh, if we can come away here with a draw, that would be a good result. But those moments were mainly in the first half, and in the second half I thought we were, especially after we scored the 1-1, was the 1-1, yeah, we were really impressive. Created so many opportunities, good chances. And then in the end, being 1 minute before the end, being 3-2 up, it feels as a disappointment, of course, to drop 2 points.
The substitutions worked well. Trent's had a massive effect on the game.
Yeah, I think Mo had a massive impact on the game as well. Dom came in really well, Lucio also, but I think in general the second half we played much better than the first half, where in the first half we had a lot of problems with their intensity, with their aggressive playing style without the ball, aggressive in a good way. Where we tried to cope with it, but every time we touched them we got a yellow, so that doesn't really help for us to be intense then as well. But to give credits to them, they were more intense than us. They forced us to too many mistakes. So it wasn't that difficult for us to be better in the second half with the ball, and that's what we were. And yeah, maybe it was difficult for them to keep that intensity of the first 45 minutes going. And as a result of that, or all these things, we dominated the second half.
Tony?
Mentioned Mo there, and to the other media, you said you're hoping and expecting him to continue doing this for a long time. Is there any update on that? And could you just talk about that second half performance from him individually? I mean, that must have been as good a one-half performance from an individual as you've seen.
Yeah.
And he could have scored all the goals.
Yeah, it's difficult for me to predict the future, but the long-term future, the only thing I can expect or predict is that he's in a very good place at the moment. He plays in a very good team that provides him with good opportunities, and then he's able to do special things. And what makes him, for me, even more special is that in the first hour you thought like, oh, now before we scored the 1-1, you thought like, he's not playing his best game today. And then come up with a half hour or 35 minutes, I don't know how long it was afterwards, with assists, 2 goals, having a shot on the bar, being a constant threat. That is something not many players can do if they've played the first hour like he did. So that is also what makes him special, apart from, yeah, if you just look at the goals, his finish is so clinical. It's yeah, special player, but that's what we all know.
Richard?
Yeah, more generally on Mo. I mean, at the end of last season, he had an injury, he had a spell where he wasn't scoring as many goals as usual. I mean, when you came in, were you maybe slightly worried that he was perhaps going over the hill, or have you been surprised by how much he's got back to his best this year?
I've seen many games of last season, but it's always difficult to judge a player if you're not there. You just, what I did most was just seeing style of play and team performance, and not that much the individual performance. And what I noticed from the start when he came in, how fit he was, how ready he was to make it a very good season for him, that he led by example from the first day onwards. In pre-season, where so many of his teammates where he usually plays with, so the international players weren't there, and then still be able to work that hard he did and train so hard. Yeah, then and we all saw the quality from in the training session. So it's not a surprising thing for me that he does so well till now.
And there looked to be some frustration from yourself and your coaching staff directed at the officials this evening at times during the game. Was it one incident specifically, or?
No, I'm not sure. I think it was an intense game, and all the decisions are made by the players, by me, by the other coaching staff, and by the referee. They can have a big impact. So all these small details can have a big impact. So you always try to influence where you can, or sometimes that you have a bit of frustration. But in general, I didn't feel we overcrossed the line. It's there were moments in the game where we felt we could have got a free kick. There were moments in the game where the Newcastle bench thought they could have had a free kick. Yeah, I think it's always like this, and it happens mostly in an intense game where there are so many turnarounds. that emotions get not only with the fans but sometimes with us as well. Yeah, I don't think the referee had any influence on the result tonight.
Last one, Hamza.
Arne, the backline's a bit depleted at the moment. Do you expect to just have slightly more open matches now because Ibrahim Konate's out, Bradley's out, Tsimikas is out? Is this a bit more natural to have a bit more
Tsimikas was already out before we played Madrid and City. Connor was out before we played City, and Ibu didn't play City as well, and we kept a clean sheet 2 times against the best teams that have dominated Europe for so long. To go away to Newcastle, it's such a difficult game to play, and they have so much quality throughout the whole squad, but especially up front as well. So that they are able to score a goal, that's not a surprise for me. And yeah, especially the first one. What a finish that was from them. I mean, ours was a great finish as well, but that shot from Isak, I don't even know if Queef saw that ball. As hard as it was.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay, Luke, do you want to get us underway?
Where do you start with that one? A fascinating, entertaining game of football. Do you feel you should have won it?
Mixed emotions. I feel part of me feels we should have won it. A big part of me. And part of me is, of course, pleased we didn't lose either because it was such a late goal for us. But just generally very pleased with the performance. Much more attacking output, much better feel about the team. Really good energy. Really good quality performance against, for me, the best team we played so far this season in the Premier League. So a big jump forward, I think, for us.
Did they have the sort of look of champions the way they came back into that game?
I don't know. I think it's a difficult thing for me to focus on. I'm only focused on us. Certainly their substitutions gave us a problem with Trent's attacking quality and potency with the ball. Certainly gave us an issue down that side of the pitch. Disappointed with the goals we conceded, but I don't think that should overtake sort of my general feeling and emotion, which is that's much more like us, and if we can hit those levels consistently, we're going to win a lot of games.
2 contentious decisions from a Newcastle perspective: trip on, what looked like a trip on Alexander Isak inside the box, and then the referee ended the game when he did. What are your thoughts on that, please?
I thought it was a penalty on Alex, but I haven't seen a replay. That was just an initial thought. I was surprised by the final whistle because I think we spent around about 2 minutes on a free kick in extra time, so I was expecting 7 minutes to be played. I think it's 5:15 when he's blown, so that was that was a blow because we look like we're in a good position.
Thanks, Luke. Damien and then George.
Anyway, obviously Mo Salah was very good today, his finishing. When Alex is in that kind of form, is he as good as anyone around?
Yeah, I think it was Alex's best performance of the season for us today. I think he had that. First of all, let's take his goal. It was a goal out of nothing really for us, and I think this season we've missed those. I think last season he scored regularly goals that probably not expected to score. And those moments of magic can swing games your way, and I think that was a massive step towards doing that tonight. But then he was elusive to mark. He was difficult to pick up. He was popping up all over the place, dribbling with the ball. He's a great dribbler, so it's great to see those qualities back in his game. I just thought it was a top performance from him.
The most of us got a certain vintage that served as a reminder of the fourth race back in the day. Did it for you?
Well, I was hoping it would be one of those moments, and that was going through my mind late in the game when we equalised. I'm thinking we might get one more chance here, and that's when I thought the counter-attack was that chance, but obviously it wasn't meant to be.
Thanks, Damien. Got to George and then Lee Ryder.
From the start of the year, it felt like a team we were up for it. Is there any frustration on your behalf that it's gone from the performance that we saw that highlights to this, that consistency is just so elusive?
Yes, and that's very much in my head because tonight we're everything that we want to be. Weren't perfect, but we're everything we want to be in terms of attitude, body language, demeanour, energy, pressing, attitude. I have to say I don't think Palace was as bad as maybe the perception is of that game, because we were 1-0 up with seconds left, and if we win that game I think there's a totally different view on it. So, but I understand that perception always changes with results. West Ham's last half an hour I thought was the low point for me. But yes, we need to hit the type of standards we did today consistently, and that is the challenge now for the players to deliver.
Yeah, I mean, as a manager, I guess you're going to want to know what to expect from your team, and it feels like this season we've kind of not quite been able to get that.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment, and I have made that clear to the players. But we have to find a solution together, you know, me included, coaching staff. We always move forward together, whatever the outcome. And we're always trying to find solutions because there's always issues and problems you have to solve. So we want to be the best team that we're capable of being. I think we're on our way towards that. I think from the start of the season to now, we've improved steadily. I hope that improvement continues as we go into a key month.
Thanks, George. Lee Ryder then, Craig Hall.
And there's a 4-1-0 win, not tempt you at all? Given our discussion before the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's ended 3-3, but there would be no difference in the preparation for me and the players in terms of what we want to deliver on a regular basis. You know, I wasn't standing there saying, right, we've got to... You know, the lads know we want to create and score goals, and we know we want to play with a fast, dynamic intensity, but sometimes the game, for whatever reason, just doesn't deliver that. And Crystal Palace would probably be one of those games where we didn't get our flow going, but we were winning the game with the last seconds of the game. So, but I was pleased to see that dynamic in our game. We need to create and score, and I thought our attacking players all delivered a really good performance today. But our midfield was really strong against a really dynamic midfield that they possess. I thought we lived with them. It's a big credit to our midfield. And also I thought, bizarrely, although we conceded 3 goals, in the main we defended pretty strongly, especially in the first half. I thought it was a really good defensive performance. Obviously we had issues in the second half that we'll have to reflect on.
That D7 strike was 70 miles an hour. You just got to stand back and blow those effects. Yeah,
as I said earlier, it's great to have one of those moments from Alex, because those moments of quality he does possess, and he's done consistently for us. Maybe not so much this season, you know, those clinical goalmouth strikes from distance, but he's more than capable of doing that, and that's why he can make the difference for us.
Actually, Craig?
You touched on it there briefly, but the midfield 3, 5 games ago you went away from that 3 as a combination. You've gone back to it today. Why did you go back to it, and was that evidence that they can play together, given all the debate around them as a trio?
You love the midfield 3 debate, don't you? And I understand it, because it's an interesting thing, because you've got 3 outstanding players. For me, with our midfield, we've got 6 outstanding midfield players to pick from, and getting the balance right of those 6 is very difficult because they all have different skills. I've gone back to it because I think it can work, the 3 of them together. I think we've obviously changed the dynamic of how it lines up, and there's strengths and weaknesses to that. We're seeing Bruno in a different position. I thought he played well today. Sandro, I think, has been excellent the last 2 games as a 6. Real competition for places, but 3 outstanding players that we need to get the best out of.
Okay, we'll go a few to finish up. We'll go to Dominic, Jordan, and then front row.
Within 2 minutes tonight, you had 2 shots on goal. The intensity was there. Did we see a team with a point to prove, maybe to the fans, to themselves tonight?
Yeah, I always think we have points to prove, regardless of what we've done previously, and maybe that's one of our issues. You know, you win a game, nothing changes. We've got to win again. You lose a game, nothing changes. You've got to fight back. So I never get lost in that sea of results. I get lost in the sea of performance and making sure we try to be at our best. And that won't change now moving forward to Brentford. It wasn't lost on me that we had 2 shots early in the game, and I was delighted with that start, because we needed that after our last game.
Anthony Gordon back on the left, his first goal from that side this season. Did we see the best of him tonight?
Yeah, I think we did. In key moments, I thought he really delivered. I thought he was electric. If I'm an opposition manager looking at that performance, he's one of the first port of calls that I've got to try and deal with, and I think that's Anthony at his best. Very, very pleased with his goal. Could have had more. I thought he kept going right to the end as well.
Just quickly, Cuban should get on the spot tonight, perhaps.
Just anyone is problem.
John?
Just on the referees, when it was first off, Anthony Gordon went for a goal, had the shot saved, and then went to ground under a challenge by Bergevin. It looked like he took a shoulder to the face. Were you surprised VAR didn't look at that?
Well, I think VAR did look at it and concluded nothing happened, so I have to accept that.
Are you surprised by that?
I was, yeah, initially, yeah.
Eddie, you mentioned that wonderful control you had in the first half, and then it became a bit more end-to-end in the second. Could you just explain if you wanted it to become a bit more open, or what was happening in the second half?
Absolutely didn't want it to be end-to-end. When you're winning the game, you want control. We had that control in the first half, but I think you have to understand Liverpool's dynamic. There's two teams here, and I think their substitutes did well for them. I think Trent's an obvious attacking threat with his crossing and his passing. It's probably more his passing than his crossing, and although he's created one of the goals, I think, where he's breaking our lines with his outstanding range that he possesses, and we didn't deal with that individual threat well enough, although we had prepared for it, but stopping it is another thing.
Thank you, everyone. Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers.